I now hand the conference over to Mr. Anup Pujari for CDR India. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on Varun Beverages Q3 2020 earnings conference call. We have with us Mr. Ravi Jaipuria, Chairman of the company, Mr. Varun Jaipuria, Whole-time Director, Mr. Raj Gandhi, Group CFO and Whole-time Director, Mr. Kapil Agarwal, CEO and Whole-time Director, Mr. Vikas Bhatia, CFO of the company. We will initiate the call with opening remarks from the management, following which we'll have the forum open for a question and answer session. Before we begin, I would like to point out that some statements made in today's call may be forward-looking in nature, and a disclaimer to this effect is included in the presentation shared with you earlier. I now request Mr. Ravi Jaipuria to make his opening remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on our earnings conference call. I trust that you and your families are safe and maintaining all precautions against the spread of COVID-19. I hope all of you had the opportunity to go through our results presentation, which provides details of our operational and financial performance for the third quarter ended 30th September 2020. We are pleased to report steady results during the quarter, supported by a higher mix of better realization products and rationalized trade promotions, leading to 3.6% growth in net revenues. As the country moved into the unlocked phase, we witnessed healthy recovery in demand in the second half, especially coming in from rural and semi-urban areas. This enabled us to restrict sales volume degrowth at 6-7% year-on-year in India. Our international territories saw fast recovery in consumption and registered a 5.8% year-on-year growth during the quarter. So on a consolidated basis, we reported a marginal degrowth of 4% in volumes, September being the latest month of the quarter ended. Just to give you an idea, our business witnessed strong, delivered a robust growth of 12% as compared to September 2019. On the profitability front, we were able to sustain certain cost optimization measures implemented during the pandemic, enabled us to report improved profitability and margins during the period under review. From an operational standpoint, all our manufacturing facilities are now operating at near normal utilization levels. Our well-oiled distribution model consisting of owned logistics, supply chain and end-to-end infrastructure facilities have also kept us in a strong footing in these challenging times. Part of cost realization shall continue to benefit us in the coming years. We further fortified this strength across micro territories during the quarter. With the reopening of theatres, restaurants, mass transportation and outdoor facilities, we are seeing an encouraging revival in demand on a month-to-month basis. And on the back of our solid distribution network and manufacturing capabilities, we believe we are well positioned to address this growth in consumption. Looking ahead, we are hopeful that the demand momentum will strengthen in the months ahead. Buoyant rural and semi-urban demand owing to widespread monsoons should lead to broad-based economic recovery. In addition, the upcoming festivities and various support measures announced by the government to boost consumption and spending further bode well for our product categories over the medium to long term. On the whole, we are confident of delivering encouraging growth in sales and performance in the quarters ahead. I would now invite Mr. Gandhi to provide highlights of the operation and financial performance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to everyone joining us today. Let me provide an overview of the financial performance for the third quarter ended 30th September 2020. In Q3 2020, revenue from operation adjusted to excise GST grew by 3.6% year-on-year in the Q3 2020 to the level of 18,026.3 million rupees. Realization per case improved by 8% in Q3 2020, essentially on account of higher mix of CSD product portfolio and rationalized trade promotions. With faster than expected recovery across territories, we registered a healthy growth of 5.8% in the international geographies during the quarter. Total sales volume were down 4% year-on-year at 119.5 million cases in Q3 2020 as compared to 24.5 million cases in Q3 2019. Sales volumes in India were down 6.7% year-on-year at 91.5 million cases in Q3 2020 as compared to 98.1 million cases in Q3 2019. CSD constituted 74%, juice 6% and packaged drinking water 20% of the total sales volume in Q3 2020. On the profitability front, EBITDA increased by 16.9% to the level of 3,807.9 million in Q3 2020 from 3,256.6 million in Q3 2019. That's the corresponding period of the previous year. EBITDA margins improved by 240 basis points on the back of sustained cost control initiatives. Gross margins declined by 149 basis points during the Q3 2020, primarily due to increase in the mix of promotional packs like Pepsi PET 1.25 liters, Sting PET 250 ml, etc. Depreciation increased by 5.7% on account of capitalization of Slice 200 ml Tetra lines and lease accounting under Ind AS 116. Finance cost during the quarter declined by 33.2% on account of QIP concluded by the company in September 2019, leading to repayment of debt during the last year. And in addition, the average cost of borrowing reduced significantly to around 7% or maybe marginally lower. This enabled us to register a PAT growth of 99% to the level of 1,614.7 million in Q3 2020 from rupees 811.2 million in Q3 2019. On the whole, we have reported a steady performance during the quarter. Our fundamentals remain intact as the operating environment gradually improves. We are optimistic of reporting healthy and sustained growth in the quarter.
The conference is now being recorded.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for patiently waiting. We now have the management connected. Over to you, sir. You may please go ahead.
Thank you. On that note, I just mentioned, I come to an end of the opening remarks and would like to now ask the moderator to open the lines for the Q&A. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Sameer Gupta from IIFL Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. This is Percy Panthaki here. Congrats on a good set of numbers. Sir, my first question is on the cost savings that you have done and the implications that it has for your margins. In the past, you have always mentioned that the margins at 20-21% are quite healthy, and these should be maintained going ahead, and you're not looking at any margin expansion from these levels. But given the kind of cost savings that you have shown at least this quarter, just wanted to know if there is a new normal for the margins on a stable state basis, and if so, what would that number be?
So I think long term, the margin which we had said 21% is a very healthy margin, Percy. So if because certain things we were able to do because of the pandemic and traveling costs and other costs were reduced, and we hope to curtail some costs. But going forward to say that our margins are going to increase better than 21%, I would not say so. But I think we are trying wherever we can do some savings, we are doing, and making sure the business is efficient.
Right, sir. And secondly, on the top line, since now in September things have returned to normal, and unless there's a second wave or something, we should see the September trends continuing for the rest of the year as well. So if that is the case, just wanted to understand what would you be focusing on to drive growth? Is it mainly coming from market share gains, or just wanted to understand your construct of how you look at growth, and what kind of stable state volume growth for the Indian business do you think is something we should look forward to?
Well, I think the key focus has been in-home consumption, which is what has grown drastically during the lockdown period. And that is why we launched one of the consumer packs, which is easily fittable in all the refrigerators in the consumer homes, which was a 1.25 liters at a special price, magical price of 50 rupees, which has done exceedingly well for us. And going forward, I think what has changed and which I think is going to be very good for us is people have started getting used to drinking at home, which was much less than what it should have been. And as the go-to-market starts, where the metros and buses start moving and railways start moving, then I think our go-to-market will also come back to normal, and we expect both the places the growth will start happening instead of only in-home consumption growth, which is coming right now.
Right, sir. And lastly, on your direct distribution reach, are you at pre-COVID levels, or are you still below that?
So we are pretty well there. I mean, we never stopped our distribution except when in the
some shops itself might be closed, and that's why you might not be reaching them.
Yeah, but if you look at hotels and restaurants, some of them are still closed. So wherever the outlets are closed, of course, there is no point going to them. But as they are opening, we are servicing all our outlets, and we are seeing that if you see, the business is pretty well back to normal, and rather more profitable business is coming, because what is down is really the water sales, which was basically being consumed in hotels and restaurants, and that is what is down. But our actual CSD volumes are actually going up. So going forward, it is looking quite positive.
Okay, sir. That's all from me. Thanks and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we move to the next question, we'd like to remind our participants to limit their question to 2 per participant. If time permits, you may join the question queue for any follow-up. The next question is from the line of Abneesh Roy from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Sir, one question was on the cold product consumer behavior. So what we are getting is in terms of ice cream and say beer, because there also it is cold product, consumer has cut down significantly, even in Q2. So how you have managed to address this pushback, especially in CSD?
Well, we've not had that feeling. So, I mean, our consumer seems to be enjoying the cold drink, and I think the only difference is they are consuming more at home, because they are not in the market that much. And as I said, the crowded places like bus stations and railway stations, that's where our volumes have declined. But everywhere else, and especially home, the consumption has gone up quite a bit. So we are not facing that challenge.
Could you elaborate on that bit? How much is in-home consumption versus last year? So both the segments, out of home and in-home, how much was the growth and dip respectively?
Well, our home consumption has gone up by between 20 and 25%.
And that could come off, because now as people start traveling again, could that come off?
No, I don't think. We hope once you get habitual to it, I think we are hoping that will stay, and once the people start going out, the on-the-go consumption will come back to normal what it used to be. So that's why we are expecting a healthy growth going forward.
Sir, why I'm asking this, in biscuits, if you see from a 24%, 25% growth in Q1, Q2 became 9% growth. So similar benefit based on 1 quarter in advance, because it was open. So you think that will not happen here in home consumption?
No, I didn't get your question properly. Sorry. Can you just repeat?
So essentially, in-home consumption has benefited all food and beverage companies, but Q1 versus Q2, biscuits saw significant slowdown from 24-25% growth to 9% volume growth. So in your case,
biscuit and all people, bought ahead of the curve. I think with soft drinks, it has not happened that way. So people are buying as per their requirement. So I think that's why you see a slowdown, but that is not the case with soft drinks. As things are opening up, our business is coming back to normal.
And the last question, large packs again, because it's in-home consumption and people are buying in bulk also. So any number you can share there, large packs versus last year, how much is the percentage or how much is the growth?
I don't have the exact percentage right now, but it's in double digits, that's for sure. But I don't have the exact number, so offline, if tomorrow you want to know, we can give it to you.
But it would have grown faster, right? That was my...
Absolutely. It has grown in double digits, that's what I'm saying.
Oh. Okay, sir. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chirag Shah from CLSA. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for taking my question. My question is a little structural. If you look at the last few years, we have done a great job in terms of cost cutting, especially of the acquired territories as well. I was wondering if there is also an opportunity to improve working capital turns here. We had close to about 900 crores of inventory as on December 19, and that increased to about 1,000 crores in June 20. Now, I understand the context of lockdown, but on a slightly more structural basis, is there a opportunity to improve the inventory turns?
This actually, Chirag, is happening. If you see when the listing happened, it used to be capital, which is about 42 days. So
Yeah.
improvement is coming, and even the working capital, in spite of new territories coming in, is not going up much. And December is the off month when we have to prepare for the ensuing season. That's a one-off kind of a thing. But presently, inventory levels are 848. So it's not 1,000 crore anymore.
Sure. But Mr. Gandhi, I mean, if I have to look at a slightly longer term view, where is the opportunity? How do we plan to reduce inventory and how do we improve the turns? Not just looking at the next quarter, but slightly on a 2-3 year view.
See, I tell you, this is blended average number of days when we say. What happens is during the off season, people want to, based upon the batch size, the number of days it will work out higher because the sale is very less. So it will turn out to be for a higher number of days. But during the season, inventory with any distributor or at our warehouses is not more than 3 days because it sells, the moment it's produced. So less than 3 days will become always a challenge during the season, which according to us is the best which can be done.
Also, there is one more thing, which is that the PET resin prices are always the lowest in the quarter four, which is November, December.
Sure.
And we try and buy a little extra to take benefit of the pricing because the cost of carrying is much lower than the change in pricing which happens.
Understand. Fair enough. And just a second question on the Kerala plant. Is there any write-downs that we are expecting from the shutdown that we have taken over there?
No, there is no write-down at the moment, please.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vivek from Jefferies India. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Two questions. First, hi, good evening, sir. First question on the volume bit. So you mentioned in your release that September is a double digit in India. Is there a base angle to it, or that is how the like for like, so to speak, numbers are? And is that trend continuing in October, therefore?
No, you see, as July onwards in this quarter, if you see, as the lockdowns kept reducing, the volumes kept going up. And if you see, we were, I think, what percentage we were negative in July?
About 20%.
About 20% we were negative in July, and in August, I think it came down to 6-7% negative. And in September, when everything had opened up, we became positive by 12%. So I think fundamentally, unless until we see a second wave or something very negative happening, there is no reason why this should not continue. And we should be back to normal business.
Sure. I mean, by any chance, would you be able to comment on October's numbers?
October is pretty good. And, it's coming, continuing with the growth. So that's what I can tell you.
That's great. Okay. Sure. And second question, to one of the participants, what you responded about margins. If I look at your other expenses in this quarter are down 11% on the revenue. Now I know there is a bit of an anomaly in India versus outside India and the product mix, etc. But on the margin side, I also think that is there a case, or are you being a bit conservative on the margin outlook, or given that in the context of, let's say, revenue growth, you are down 11% on the other expenses side. Can you just elaborate a bit on that aspect, please?
Vivek, as chairman has already stated, on this, yes, there is a possibility of reduction of cost, but it's better to be conservative than extra bullish. If there will be any savings, will be definitely coming to the accounts. But up to 21% margins, we want to give the guidance. Beyond that, because there are few commodities which are consumed, PET prices or the sugar prices or at times pulp prices. So which are very difficult to predict. So at this moment, giving a guidance on the improvement in the margin, I don't think will be very desirable. So yes, whatever we had been doing, we'll we are back to that, and we'll be able to maintain that at least.
Got it. Thank you for the clarification and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Vivek.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Devanshu Bansal from Emkay Global. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity and congratulations on good performance in a challenging quarter. Sir, 9-month margins are at 20%, with Q4 being a seasonally low margin quarter. Are we still sticking to maintain margins in CY20?
See, the margins from the last year, in this quarter we have shown an improvement. At least the trend we can say will continue. But of course, the fourth quarter margins, as you rightly said, it's a weaker quarter. We will not be matching to the second quarter.
Sure. And my second question is just to understand our preparation for the upcoming season. So, what is the expected number of BB coolers that we shall place in CY20 and in CY21?
Well, I think it's going to be consistent what we have been placing up to now. So it would be similar numbers. I mean, we are not drastically going up or going down. So we are consistently going to maintain what we have been doing, and will continue maintaining that for the next few years.
Sir, in CY20 also we added around 40,000 BB coolers.
This year, in fact, there was some balance left because, after the 22nd of March, going to the market was prohibited. So there is some carryover for 21 as a one-off case. You can add that opening carryover from this year. Otherwise, as Chairman said, about around 40,000 plus minus will be the BB coolers, placement in coming years. But for the 20 as one of
21 it might be additional because we combine both the years and average 40,000 per year.
Sure, sir. That is helpful. Can you also quantify in terms of new distributor additions that we have done in preparation for the new season?
Or in now preparing our AOPs, because the markets have just opened up everywhere. So I think it's a bit early, but there will be quite a few new distributors because of the new territory in which we wanted to enhance and we couldn't do it properly this year. So there will be large enhancements, but the exact numbers, it's a bit too early. We'll know it by most probably before the end of the year.
And one last bookkeeping question. What is the current level of debt and what has been the free cash flow generation in 9 months CY20?
Debt level is, I think, 2,800 and maybe 30-40 crore. And the PAT level is given, depreciation is to be added. 758 crore is the cash profit for the year. And capex, if we reduce about maybe roughly 400, so balance 360 crore roughly maybe the free cash flow.
Sure, sir.
Before interim dividend which we declared.
Sure, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shantanu Bansal from Smiths Limited. Please go ahead.
Hello everyone. Good afternoon. So I have few questions. Firstly, with regard to institutional sales. So can you give an idea as to the percentage of institutional sales in India that happened in Q3 CY20, and what was the on-the-go consumption in the same quarter, that is Q3 CY20, and what are their positions in October?
See, institutional sales is quite low. It's about 2-3% only for us. It's not very large if you talk of specific large institutions. So it's a very small part of our volume. It's basically modern trade and eateries and go-to market, which is our big numbers.
Okay. And what about on-the-go consumption in Q3 CY20?
on the core has come down to 7%, 7%.
Yeah. The reduced volume, see, in the main season, our water sales from 27, the mix came down to 7, so 17 that reduction. After that reduction and smaller pack reduction replaced by the home packs, it is high single digit, maybe 7 to 8%.
Okay, sir.
13, is it?
It was 13% now. 13%.
13%. Okay. And is the same trend getting reflected in October as well?
Yeah, October is about the same, slightly getting better, depending on each state and how it is opening up. So slowly people are moving out as you see suddenly the metros running, some of the buses running. So I think in the next 1 or 2 months, once everything is open, the whole trend is going to change back again.
Okay, sir. And with respect to your rural and semi-urban consumption, so with respect to the total India sales, how much percentage is rural and how much is semi-urban in Q3 CY20?
30% plus is a rural.
Yeah.
Rural is about 30%.
And semi-urban, sir?
Semi-urban is about very close to that only.
Okay. Right. So, based on your commentary, one can assume that, in-home consumption has not picked up that much in urban markets, which is somewhat contrary to, demographic trends and fashion.
No, but in-home consumption has picked up everywhere, no? It is not only because if your on the go is down, then that has, and as our volumes are very close to last year, then the balance has been picked up by in-home only.
But sir, what was your rural and semi-urban consumption in pre-COVID time?
This is generic data.
See, this is the normal data. This year specifically, our rural market has gone up from 30% to most probably close to 40%. So this is one-off. How long will it continue? That is not very clear. And that has come off from basically urban.
Right. So urban has lost.
That's the basic change has happened.
Right. Okay, sir. And one last question is with regard to a capex. So how much have you spent till? What is the cumulative capex that you intend to spend for the whole year?
We have spent around 400, as we have stated in our calls earlier. This includes 200 crore, which PepsiCo had given us last year for some equipments to be purchased in the plants which we had taken. So another 200, which we had given the guidance, up to 50% of depreciation figure. So around 400 crore. Majority of our capex for the year is already happened.
Okay, so no more capex in last quarter.
That's right.
Yeah, practically very low. If there is any.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for answering all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bharat Shah from ASK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Raviji, Raji, and this must be a remarkable quarter in Varun's history, where third quarter in a calendar has exceeded the numbers in the second quarter. Probably in the wildest dreams that may not have ever been conceived. But that's a tribute. I hope
our second quarter is always much better than the third quarter.
Yes. No, it's a tribute to Varun that in the third quarter it has raised the bar, and in the second challenging quarter it still tried to manage situation a lot better. So much so that finally third quarter has ended up better than the second one, which was unthinkable. But my 2 points I wanted to, on the expenses, there was an extensive discussion prior to this. But I always thought Varun stands for operational excellence. This is a business of execution. This is a business of managing operations very efficiently. So Varun has always been a cost warrior and very efficient operator in running the day-to-day business. So I really wonder how much there is a scope for any dramatic economy of expenses.
No, as I said, further reduction is going to be very difficult. Whatever we could, we have squeezed ourselves looking at the pandemic and our main quarter getting hurt. So we have become even much more cost effective than we used to be. But we don't want to predict any numbers better than 21%, because at 20% we are the most profitable company in soft drinks actually in the world, amongst the top large companies. So I think we want to keep it at that, and then it would depend on the oil prices and the sugar prices. Those are the two main commodities we have. So at the moment the oil prices are quite favorable for us, so that would also help. But we don't, because sometimes the sugar goes down, sometimes the oil prices go down, so it keep on balancing. So we don't like to predict.
Yeah, in other words, the costs that you can control, which are within your jurisdiction, I suppose you have squeezed everything that you can. What is outside your
control? Whatever was possible, I think we have pretty well done.
Absolutely.
Now our only thing is not to let the costs go up, and the volumes will keep going up.
Sure. And secondly, Raviji, supposing this nightmare of 2020 wouldn't have occurred, and assuming that there is no recurrence of challenge in the calendar 2021, is it likely that calendar 2021 would be as per our original plans, as if 2020 did not occur? Whatever disruption in 20 has occurred, has had to occur, has occurred. But if we have to, for a moment, think that that were not to be the case, our original plans in 2019 for 21, would that fructify? If assuming
it would be very close. It would be very close. We hope we can actually do better, because the cost cuts which we have done, that I think we expect the numbers to come back to some reasonable reality, and the cost cuts which we have done would help us going forward. And especially for next year, I think we don't see the oil prices going up at the moment, and if the oil prices don't go up, that will help us.
And Shah Saab, added to what Chairman has said, Pepsi and Varun jointly are also working on the activation plan for season 21, which normally starts from the January, to prepone it from the November itself, with South and West, with the warmer territories coming to us. So preparation for next year, so are going to start activation process from next week itself. Intra purchase, intra placement, etc.
Exactly. That means 2021, in all probability, should represent a year as if our normal long-term plan would have rolled it out for us. And hopefully on the cost side, we would get some extra, which means in all probability 2021 is conceivable that it can be better than our original plans in 2019.
We hope so, sir. And we are trying for that.
See, we will try for both. If there is some shortcomings in one, hopefully may get compensated by the other, and the end product, the net result should be quite near to as you were saying.
And secondly, on strategically, if we look at, while given the nature of the business, seasonality is deeply embedded and structural. But at margin, can we reduce the intensity of the seasonality given the unusual event that has rudely interrupted your most important quarter? So going forward, can we strategically on a long term do something whereby our at least at margin some amount of intensity of the seasonality can be brought down?
See, what we are doing, it's like a chicken and egg story actually. As we grow the market, the newcomers we add are normally added in the peak summer season. So on one side, we are making our seasonality flat by giving more product to the same customer. On the other side, the new customers we are adding, he's only coming in the month of March, April, May, June. So we keep on going back and forth actually as the volumes keep increasing, and there is such a huge rural market India still has, that still we potentially go deeper and deeper for the next few years. I think on one side we'll flatten the urban curve, but the rural market will keep on developing in the peak season.
Sure. No, I appreciate. And I think
the difference which will make is now with the new territories coming to us, which are much less seasonal, because we were more skewed on north, which was very seasonal. Now with the south and west coming to us, which is much less seasonal, I think that itself will start showing a change. And also juices are doing well even in the off season, so that will make a little bit of a dent.
Sure. No, I appreciate it. I think remarkable performance in very, very tough time. So good luck on that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Deepak Poddar from Sapphire Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity. So just wanted to understand more on the medium term, if you set aside this year, what sort of volume growth or maybe in the top line we are looking at in terms of maybe next 3 to 5 years, which we can grow consistently given our focus on new territories, new products?
Well, our guideline was clear before also that after this year we hope to come back to our normal growths, which were, if you just take out, we have to treat that 2020 does not exist, and we have to go back to our normal growth, which we will take from 2019, skip 2020 and go back to 21 basically. So we don't see any reason why the growth will not come in the next 3-4 years.
Okay. So what is that normal rate of growth that we are?
We are fundamentally looking at double-digit growth, which we still believe will happen.
Fair enough. Understood. But that's it from my side. Thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vidhi Dadia from Radiant Securities. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. I have two questions. First up, from Q1 CY18 through Q4 CY18, result presentations reflected carbonated juice-based variants of slice. The flavors were guava, chili, apple, orange, and succeeding presentations for CY18 no longer have these brands listed. So could you cite the reason for the discontinuation of this product? As we personally believe the offtake would have been great. And my second question is, how is the offtake for our dairy-based products?
Well, our dairy-based products had started doing extremely well, but it was a new product, and we had planned proper marketing and proper expansion of the products. But unfortunately, as COVID happened, then we sort of semi-withdrew the products, and as we could not launch it properly. And we will again launch it properly again in the starting of the year, even though we are still selling it, but we slowed it down, and now again from January, February, we'll put it across the country. So the product was liked and it did extremely well, but during pandemic we withdrew it to a point.
And the other part of your question on the fizzy slice juice-based products, these were launched low cost at the rural areas. These were zero sugar products. But what people talk, they should consume less sugary products, but it worked just the reverse. People, did not like that much these products which were without sugar. So this was very small, and these were meant for the rural areas, but the results were not very good. So for the time being, we are not producing those.
Okay, okay, sir. That was very helpful. Thank you, and greetings for the festive season.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Varun Goenka from Nippon Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yes, good evening, Raviji, Mr. Gandhi. First of all, I think the team never falls short of surprising us. It's been, I think, more than around 12 quarters, either on volume and now this quarter on cost. So my heartiest congratulations. I think all my questions are answered. Just your thoughts on our e-commerce sales, where they are, how are we approaching that? Are we approaching a 1P model or a 3P model where we use the distributors to do the fulfillment? That's about it. I think rest of the questions have been answered, sir.
Right, and we are doing that.
All e-commerce. See, we are in all e-commerce stores, but that is going through our main distributors or directly from ourselves, either from the plants or from our large distributors. So we are mainly in the major towns.
All e-commerce platforms we are.
And all e-commerce platforms we are activated, and we are supplying to them, and we are of course looking at it in a much bigger way going forward.
Okay, and what would be our sales today, just on an annual basis, a percentage of sales or anything, sir?
It's very negligible for the time being.
Sure.
It's just a platform which has just started for us, so it's not large.
Right. Just a more macro question. I think going forward, are we looking at much larger plants and scaling down the smaller plants? Is that the thought eventually, or?
It would be ultimately, because smaller plants are much more costlier. So as we open any new plant now, it will be much larger than what it is. And slowly, the very small plants which we have acquired, we might either replace them with larger plants or shut down, which is not needed if we have another plant close by.
Okay, and you would need a large plant in South, right?
So we have enough plants in South. So South, the capacities are more than comfortable right now. We don't need anything. South and West, both we have enough plants.
Okay, even Tropicana, we have sufficient capacity?
Tropicana is the only thing when we launch, when we need extra capacity. Right now we are transporting, so we are bearing the cost. But ultimately, Tropicana, we will have to open another plant.
Okay, fine. So that would be what kind of an investment, Raviji? What size of the investment?
That would be a couple of 100 crores, especially for Tropicana.
Sure.
But it won't be for the coming year at least.
No. I mean, anyways, an investment in juice is actually very good for our growth and everything. Thank you so much, and just continue surprising us, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rakesh Roy from Insect Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. So my first question is regarding, sir, can you highlight on international business, especially on Africa region?
Well, international business was much better than, they opened up much faster than the India region. So that's why you are seeing a growth in this quarter. And it is continuing the similar way. So there is very little lockdowns anywhere in international markets. So the international markets are doing pretty well for us.
Right, sir. So my second question is, sir, India volume is nearby 91.5 million cases. Out of this domestic volume, how much is from Southwest India, sir? New territories?
Just 1 second. say?
No.
For the
For the quarter.
77 is for 9 months out of 274, and we're just checking for the quarter.
Okay, right, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Manjeet Boria from Solidarity Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Thank you for taking the question, sir. The first one was I wanted to understand the juice market a bit better. We have strong incumbents in probably Real and B Natural. So when Tropicana looks to scale up the juice segment, how do we fight these brands? Do we offer the channel better terms and, working capital or margins? Was one from the channel perspective. And second, from the customer perspective, what do we do to basically make the consumer shift from, the existing brands to Tropicana? And then our second one is unrelated.
If you see the distribution network we have is much stronger than Real or anybody else. So we are going to leverage on our distribution system, and that is why you are already seeing growth coming in the juice segment. And secondly, we have a huge volume number of visi-coolers in the market which our competition does not have. So those are the two things we are going to leverage, and with that we believe our volumes in juice will steadily keep going up.
Okay. And sir, could you give me a sense of how the retail market share is in the juice industry as of now between the top three players?
So we have how much?
So entire juice industry 35% and top 3.
So we are how much are we growing last quarter in juice? What we have?
19% last quarter.
We have grown 19% in the last quarter, so that itself gives you that we are growing even in the pandemic, and that is basically on the strength of our distribution and chilling equipment. And we expect going forward to be growing at even a faster pace than this.
Right. And sir, does Tropicana have 35% market share in the juice industry?
We are not sure. I mean, we don't have the exact numbers, and I don't want to say we didn't get the exact cut, so I would not like to speculate.
Sure. Sir, my second question was, the concentrate pricing which Pepsi has, right? How often does that get renegotiated?
No, it's not renegotiated. It's already fixed, and it will not change. We have an agreement for 20 years.
20 years. So post 20 years is when, you again have to kind of sit across the table and figure out what that is.
Then we have to, it's based on our selling price. So it's what we call our net realization value. So our price is based on that, and it will continue to be based on that.
Okay, sir. I'll come back in the queue. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sunny as an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jaipuria, Mr. Nalji ji. Sir, my question was regarding the cash accretion in this quarter. So what I remember is that the net debt of last quarter was somewhere in the range of 2,900 crores. And what I see is that in this quarter, the profit after tax and the depreciation, if I add those up, they are around 300 crores. So, but the net debt, what I heard earlier, was 2,900 crores. So I was not sure of how has the cash generated this quarter been utilized. If you can answer that, please.
Major, I think we can divide in three parts. 100 plus crore is the reduction in the debt. About 80-90 crore distribution of the dividend. Third is in the last quarter there were certain benefits of deferment of GST, PF, tax, which in this quarter are paid. which altogether will make up to this total, which is sum of the PAT and of the depreciation.
Sir, can you break it up into the three components? 100 you said is the accretion to the.
It is the reduction in debt. About 90 crores, 85 to 90 crores is the distribution of dividend.
Okay.
And the balance 100 approximately was the GST and all, which we got benefit in the pandemic period, and we paid that during this quarter.
Including capex.
Including some capex.
All right, sir. That is very, very useful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aman Pereira from Bellwether Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, absolutely.
A good set of numbers. So just one question regarding the CST.
One question regarding?
Aman, you're not audible now. Aman, if you can hear us, please respond. So it seems we have lost the line for the current participant. We will move to the next question, which is a follow-up question from the line of Devanshu Bansal from Emkay Global. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity again. Sir, my question is for international margins. So we have pretty much seen a very strong rebound in international margins. We were operating around 12-13% earlier, and now we are almost approaching 20-21% in 9 months. So what is leading to this strong improvement in margins in international operations?
Actually, every territory, territory by territory, Morocco, which took off in the last 2-3 years, has built up good portfolio of its own with water and other things getting introduced. Nepal, we increased the capacity with the second plant, which is fully operational. Zimbabwe, we added preform manufacturing there itself. Canning line we shifted, and water line we are adding to. And so that's with the full capacity. Every year, one or the other expansion had been happening there, and all these things combined have started showing results.
And even Sri Lanka has done extremely well for us. They have shown good growth, and everywhere, as we had said, we have tried to cut wherever we could cut some costs, and so there has been a cost reduction everywhere. At the same time, the volumes have come back, so the margins are good, and oil prices were down, so that also partly helped us.
So just a follow-up, do we expect to sustain these levels of margins in international operations? Because I am coming at from that side, like in India, we were already operating at 22-23% margins. And if in international operations we get back to that level, then shouldn't our company level margins also move towards 22-23% level?
We will review it next year. As of now, I think we just don't want at this moment.
We don't want to give that guideline. We hope we can, but I don't think we want to give that guideline at the moment. And we are trying everywhere, wherever we can improve our margins, and which is happening. So whatever we are learning from each country and understanding it, we are making the changes to make it more profitable. And some of the countries, when you enter, the margins are low because you are just entering the market. So it takes time, but now most of these markets have become mature for us. So I think going forward, it should be good only.
Yeah, sure. So we're sustaining these for future. Zambia, Zimbabwe, the season is November, December, so that's still in the pocket.
Actually, there April, May, June is October, November, December. So this quarter is the best for these two countries.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next question is a follow-up question from the line of Vidhi Dadia from Radiant Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for taking up my question again. So out of the 91.5 million cases of India business, could you give us a zone-wise breakup if possible?
No, we don't have the zone-wise breakup right now, but offline, if you want to know, you can call us and we'll give it.
Sure, sure, sir, sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that will be the last question for today. I now hand the conference over to the management for their closing remark. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you once again for your interest in sport. We will continue to stay engaged. Please be in touch with our investor relations team for any further details or discussions. Look forward to interacting with you soon. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Bye.
Thank you very much.